Order in the court.
I would just like to start off by apologizing again for my 2-week hiatus. It was out of my hands. I wasn't able to record or upload. I have a new device I'm currently working on, so I hope that this works for me. Actually, during this 2 weeks, this story was brought to my attention by someone who came across it. It was heartbreaking, tragic. If you have been following this story, please comment if you know anything about this story. It seems so much was left out. Viewer discretion is advised. I don't know if we're doing a verdict in or a verdict watch. I think we are actually doing both. This is for Ariana Jade Romeo, who is known by Jade. Rio Rancho, Albuquerque, New Mexico, August 2018. Quote, I can't remember what happened or what I did. I don't know how it happened. I am trying to remember so I can help. End quote. This was said by 21-year-old Leland Hust. Hust, who was living in the home with several other adults and children. He would be the one arrested 2 months after the girl's death. A deputy district attorney said it took this long to make an arrest because they learned of mistakes they had made on Victoria Martin's case, a case I am following as well and equally hoping for justice for her. Briefly on Martin's case, her mother would, by using a dating app, POF, Plenty of Fish, she would find men to come to her home to have sexual intercourse with her 8-year-old daughter. She also said she allowed a male co-worker as well to be with her daughter sexually. She didn't charge as if it made things better. She actually just liked to watch. That was her enjoyment. Under her watchful eye, her daughter was sexually assaulted, placed in a tub, dismembered, and her remains set on fire. The mother of Victoria, her boyfriend, she had just met on POF and had promptly moved him in, and his female cousin who was freed from prison 7 days prior. They were all in this apartment when Victoria died. I do believe the mother is to be sentenced soon, and again, I am following that case, and the video I will leave in the description box. Hust again was arrested on several charges along with Winston Scatz, the homeowner. Scatz, who is 64, was given in 2019 5 years probation for touching his granddaughter while he watched child porn. He pled guilty. Hust also agreed to stay in jail until his trial and without bail. His charges included intentional abuse, reckless child abuse resulting in death, aggravated sexual assault resulting in death, penetration of a child under 13. If found guilty, he could face life in prison. Hust did say he had nothing to do with Jade's death. He was interviewed on August 23rd of 2018. He said he had put a movie on for her, meaning the little girl Jade. He said that morning he had awoke to the screaming of Stephanie Romeo. She was screaming that her daughter was dead over and over again. Hust said, quote, her face was purple. Why was her face purple? It just keeps going through my mind, end quote. He added, why would anyone want to hurt her? On August 10th, that night, after placing the movie in for Jade, He said that was the last time he had seen her alive. He said he wished he could have stayed up and maybe protected her. He even had taken a DNA test, which later would be found, I will say, his DNA was inside the little girl, from a genital swab. It is said that that information is being heavily scrutinized. Some articles have flat out said that there was semen in her. But in most rapes of young girls and boys of that age, normally objects are used. There have been semen found at a crime scene, but a good percentage of that time, objects are used. The New Mexico crime lab said that other males in the home had taken the DNA test as well, and their DNA was inside the room as well. No one matched but Huss. I would think that that would be all the evidence one would need, but it wasn't. A state forensic scientist spoke about the DNA that was found in Ariana's room, Jade's room. Most of it was the baby girl's blood. The DNA came from transfer to transfer, room to room, object to object, and they were ruled out. Everyone in the household but Huss, and they're saying one male DNA sample that was unidentified. On a recorded interview that was played in court during the trial, Huss was interviewed or interrogated for 6 hours. He spoke about his father, who was currently incarcerated, his grandmother, who had died of a drug overdose, and he spoke about his own social anxiety, and he spoke about Jade. During the interview, he seemed disheveled and confused. He couldn't remember anything. He would not even look at the crime scene pictures of Jade. The detectives told him he wouldn't look at it because he didn't want to come to grips with what he had did. Detectives were accusing him of lying and repressing his memory. Huss insisted, quote, "I didn't hear nothing," end quote. In 2011, a call from the home was directed to police. Huss was reported missing. Around this time, he was 8 or 9 years old, but he would return back to the home several hours, so he had been living there for quite some time. Now, according to records, in December of 2015, Huss had asked for a police officer himself. He would report actually witnessing child abuse himself. Unfortunately, the records are unclear of what he said, who was involved, and at the time, Huss was 13 or 14 when he had called. On August 11th, 2018, the situation at hand. Jade was found on bloody sheets with marijuana in the room, drug paraphernalia, and medicines near her body. The Albuquerque Journal reported she was found on a piece of foam-like mattress in a garage with her pants and underwear off, and there was damage visible to her genitals. But during the testimony, the mother of Jade, Stephanie Romeo, said after getting off work from a bar and grill, she was so tired she crawled into bed with her daughter after 4 a.m., not realizing hours later her daughter was in the same position. She turned the covers back. Her daughter's legs were purple. Her face was purple. Quote, "I knew she was dead," unquote, her mother would say. She was mostly nude, bloodied, and cold to the touch, not breathing, and had been wrapped tightly in that blanket. She also had multiple injuries to her body. Police would arrive to a call of an unresponsive girl on Moonstone Drive. Members who were inside the household were now outside, crying, overwhelmed. The police and medical crew described the scene as Jade being deceased on a bloody foam mattress. She was wearing only a t-shirt, bloody towel, Playboy magazine, a princess pillow, and tissues were found near her body. There were blood in her buttocks that was visibly seen. She was more than likely deceased by 10 p.m. She was in the garage that was now converted into a bedroom. The owner of the house, Winston Skates, was performing CPR on her. 13th Judicial District described the home as layered in dust and a total disarray. A search warrant indicated authorities found several laptops, sex toys, pornographic material, marijuana pipes, medicine bottles, 3 pairs of men's underwear, and a rope in the trash can outside the home. The home was extremely messy and had a foul odor. Authorities couldn't detect exactly what was the cause of this stench. Now, Stephanie Romeo, who attended the trial wearing her daughter's backpack, a child's book bag. She was ruled out as a suspect, but just like any other victim, the press has to dig dirt and put all your public scandalous activities out there for everyone to scrutinize. They spoke about how Stephanie had a host of criminal charges in the past, from stealing $250 worth of toys and other items at a Walmart self-checkout, burglary, grand theft, credit card fraud, violating probation. They spoke about her moving several different places, state to state, Alabama to Florida, where she would finally settle in Rio Rancho. Even discussed past boyfriends. No one knows how she knows Scats, Hust, or anyone in the home. No one even knew, at least at the time that this article was made, how Scats was even related to her, or how Scats even knew Hus, and if so, that they were related. But one thing in all the articles I've read, the biological father hadn't been mentioned much. I saw in a short article at one time that he was trying for custody years ago, but I don't know if that's really true. Jade's mother had been involved with the man for 4 years, and Jade was only 6, so I'm not sure what role, if any role, the biological father played in her life. An ex-boyfriend who was in Jade's life, hence he was more of a father figure to Jade, but his relationship with Romeo had ended when she found another love interest. CYFD is something similar to DHR, the Department of Human Resources. It's like a building that will help out children and family services. The CYFD had received several calls in concern for Jade's well-being, believing she was in danger. It was pretty much a crowded home, this person was saying, and no one at the time knew if anyone was related to Jade. There was children in the home too. Some of the children were older than Jade. And they also said that the mother and daughter had lived there for quite a while. Neighbors say the house was crowded as well. It was chaotic, and Scats and his wife would come and go along with other people. In 2009, officers and firefighters were called to the home 35 times. Everything from stray dogs, domestic disputes, physical assaults from 2 men that resided in that home, even a man coming off methamphetamines. In 2011, Rio Rancho police investigated penetration of a 5-year-old girl at the same home that Jade would later die in. Scats had been accused of touching inappropriately another 4-year-old girl, which he denies the claim, and no charges were filed against him in that situation. Now, CYFD did something called a screen out, meaning it doesn't meet their criteria to investigate. I don't know what their criteria is and what doesn't meet it, but it could still be a very bad situation. This is what the CYFD said. It could be a bad situation, and they would send the information to the police to investigate. It isn't clear in my findings if the police did investigate. The day Huss was arrested, so was Scats. He would face criminal sexual charges because he had contact with another child. Now, in my own words, if anything, and I'm talking about Stephanie Romeo, Jade's mother, if anything she may be guilty of is leaving her baby girl with these people that I guess she trusted. But if you knew the homeowner was a sex offender, why would you leave Jade in that situation? I have no idea what her financial situation was, being she was staying in a bedroom/garage. That seems to be a very bad situation in itself, but it turned worse. The Office of the Medical Examiner stated that the child's death was a homicide. She had neck bleeding that was consistent with strangulation and suffocation. The trial started June 7, 2021 and lasted about 10 days. Winston Scats would testify against Hust. Mind you, Scats was given immunity. There was even deleted child porn on his very own computers that he doesn't conveniently remember downloading and looking at. I'm not certain what even happened with the allegations of the first victim that he was sent off to jail for. So, on June 7, 2021, the trial lasted 10 days. Hust was found not guilty on the count of first-degree murder in killing Ariana Jade Romeo. There was outrage. After the verdict, Hust's mother, Serena Hazelton, was visibly upset. She said, quote, "It's good. I feel like it's good, but I feel like they screwed up the entire investigation and the guilty person is getting away the entire time," unquote. She added she is heartbroken by Jade's death. She went on to say they all love Jade and they all love Leland. She said her son was, quote, "special as he is. How could he hide blood and all that stuff," end quote. She does believe her son is innocent. Quote, "We love Leland. We know he's innocent. We know the freaking child molester in the house is the one who killed Jade," end quote. The mother of Jade, Stephanie Romero, spoke through the district attorney, and they plan to continue fighting for justice. They did do an appeal for Jade. I have never heard of this, though this is what Huss did. He was found innocent and he went back to jail to wait for the next trial, the retrial, which can take up to 6 months or longer, and he decided to stay there. He even had already been there for 3 years. I would think he would want to get out for at least 6 months, but he's currently in jail awaiting the trial. I was told about this story and I intend to follow it out. It's very sad and heartbreaking. Another small victim that didn't get a chance to get double digits in her age and live her life. And I do feel for the mom. I can't imagine awakened to my baby girl in the bed with me, sexually brutalized and deceased, and somebody who we were living with had did this. And the autopsy reports did say Jade was in good health other than what happened to her that day. Based on what the police has mentioned, saying that they spoke with members in the household and the evidence that they gathered, they believe they got their suspect and they're not looking for anybody else. I mean, what do you think? Do you think Huss committed this crime? This is a horrible situation. Ariana Jade Romeo was a kindergartner who was set to start first grade a few days before she was murdered. But her life was taken away in that home. Rest in peace, Jade.